What's up, guys? Welcome to TFGoose Gaming. I'm TFGoose here with Vendetta, and this is number 3, I believe, in our Hearthstone deck builder series. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Today we're taking a look at the Rogue, and if you guys are, again, if you're new to the series here, check out the other couple videos here already. But basically, we're just taking a look at a couple of different deck ideas for this class. One with kind of a lower budget, and one with a higher budget. You know, not the end-all, be-all here. This isn't the ultra solution. It's just what happens to be working for us right now with the cards we have, and we wanted to share it with you. So enjoy the gameplay in the background as we go through these, and we will start things off, I think, with Backstab, of course.
A staple of any rogue deck.
Absolutely, yeah. This card originally was just 2 damage to any minion, period. And then was nerfed at one point so that the minion had to be undamaged. But to be perfectly honest, this card really shines anyway in the early game when minions most of the time have only 2 or maybe 3 health. So it really doesn't hurt you much.
Yeah, not quite as useful in the late game, just because with the early game you can get this thing out, with the combo effects of the rogue, and it really shines there. So it's useful for that, and also it doesn't cost any mana, so it's awesome.
Yeah, totally. All it costs is a card, in your deck, but it's one of those times when a 0-cost card is worth it. So definitely good to have in your deck. And moving past that, though, one that's kind of subjective. Some people like it, some people don't. It's Cold Blood.
Yeah, it gains 2 attack by itself to any minion, permanent effect, or if you combo it, it's a +4 attack. So that's pretty powerful for only 1 cost.
Yeah, it's not a bad buff. I mean, it doesn't give any health bonus, which is kind of the sexier of the Hearthstone buffs when you can get, health as well. But for surprise damage, it's good. So if you're going for, a real aggressive deck, which a lot of the times you can, certainly in a rogue deck be going that route, then this could be nice, buff damage, and you can certainly pull this out. But by all means, not totally necessary, but it's still a nice card to include. Personally, I think the next card is absolutely necessary, though. And that's Deadly Poison. This is just too beast to not include.
Yeah, I think everybody runs Deadly Poison, and if you don't, you should, because it gives 2 damage to your weapon, and since your hero ability is to summon a 1/2 dagger, it's fantastic for removal.
Yeah, absolutely. You can always bring up a dagger on yourself if as long as you have 2 mana, and if you have 3 mana, you can pop it up. So, and of course, you're probably going to put other weapons in your deck. Maybe you can throw in Perdition's Blades or Assassin's Blades or something like that, as a rogue, and then this just gets even better. So Deadly Poisons are really strong. Again, good for surprise damage on the hero, good for removal if you don't mind taking a little damage on your hero, but certainly worth keeping around. And in the same vein, though, for, you always want weapons as a rogue, then, of course, you don't want your enemies to have weapons, which is why we have one of our favorites, Acidic Swamp Ooze. Yeah. Love the Acidic Swamp Ooze. He's great.
He's friendly.
He is. Look at him. No, seriously, as we said before, guys, just a 3/2 for 2 is already a decent body, for 2 mana. And anytime you get an extra effect on that creature, then might as well. So this is basically a Bloodfen Raptor with an extra effect. So why not, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and the same thing goes for the next card here, which is a rogue-specific one, or actually, well, one that just works well in rogue decks, I guess I should say, is Bloodsail Raider.
Yeah, it gains the attack of your weapon, and since this deck has some Deadly Poisons and another weapon later on, we just felt it paired really nicely because it can be buffed up to a really decently damaged creature.
Yeah, and for only 2 mana, which is kind of nice. So if you have to pull this guy out on an early turn, he's still a reasonable body, for the 2 costs of mana. But if you can happen to have a weapon at your disposal, or even definitely if you have a deadly poisoned weapon already out there, and then you drop this guy, all of a sudden, you've got a creature that's pushing some serious damage on the board, and it's definitely going to become a target, for your opponent. Now, unfortunately, with kind of a lower health when it comes to later game, it's a target that's easily dealt with, but maybe it allows some of your other creatures to hang out on board a little bit just because the enemy has to take care of this guy just because he has lower health. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get this, this guy up to like 5 or 7 attack damage, they're going to have to deal with the problem,
Yeah, it gets to be real ridiculous real quick depending on your buffs.
Yeah, exactly. So Really nice card there, and certainly worth putting in kind of a lower budget deck or a higher one alike if you feel like it. But the next one here, the much maligned Scrub. Oh, Defias Ringleader. Yeah. This is also kind of a staple rogue card, especially for a rushy deck.
Yeah,
I think so anyway.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I love it personally for if you're going second, turn 1 Scrub. That I'm sure everyone's seen that before it was nerfed, and even after, because you get 2 minions, a 2/2 and a 2/1, and it's really powerful early game.
Yeah, it's a really, really strong early game card, especially when comboed. This is one of those things that just makes it so you really kind of do want to go second and when you're playing rogue, because the coin is so powerful given that you can use it and it counts as the combo effect, both with this card and, well, many other cards as well. So as we'll see, especially when we move into the higher budget deck. But still, Defias is great if you happen to open one in a pack or you get another one, by crafting or something. You certainly want to stick these in here. If you don't make them, then you can always, throw in something else. But you definitely want to keep your eye out for this card because it's pretty solid.
Moving
on.
Yeah, we have the ye old favorite, the Fairy Dragon. It's a 3/2, can't be targeted by spells or hero abilities. It's a solid card. We've mentioned it several times in our other videos. We don't have to really go into do great of an explanation on that card.
Yeah, it's, this card farms mages. It farms mages and it farms priests just because they can't target it. No Frostbolts, no Fire Blasts, no Shadow Word Pain. Sorry. You just got to smack it in the face. That's the only way to get rid of it, or do some kind of AoE. So really, really like this one, and we use it in a lot of decks for that reason. Same reason we use this next card in several decks too, just the Acolyte of Pain. I like it. Just it's great card draw, and especially if you manage to stick some taunt on it, through any sort of buff, then it can be great. Otherwise, you can just sort of pick and choose when you want to tap something and pick up a card. So I really like this card. And I like it better personally than stuff like Novice Engineer and everything, especially since Novice Engineer is about ready to get a debuff,
Yeah, he's going to
get
a
a nerf.
1/1.
Yeah, so stuff like this where it's got a little bit more health and, and you're almost guaranteed one card off of it, if not more than one, if you can plan it out right, or, if your opponent doesn't get rid of it right away. So I'm a big fan of this card, and I don't see it everywhere, but it certainly has its uses, and I don't think that really can be denied.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, we have the Earthen Ring Farseer. This is an interesting choice. Definitely one you don't have to have in this deck. We just like it because it gives us some versatility, whether we want to heal minions or the hero. It's good for that.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially the case in weapon decks, which is certainly, what you're looking for here in a rogue, because you're going to be dealing your own hero damage when you remove other minions. So anytime you can squeeze in some kind of healing, even if it's just a little bit, it can make all the difference. So you stick this guy in, and if you use it to heal yourself, or, in a pinch, you need to heal up a minion yours on the board and keep some presence, that's also your option. The versatility is what you're looking for there, and it's a pretty nice card for that. And I only have one in this deck. It could be very, very much argued to put a second one in. I just hadn't figured out where I wanted to put it yet.
Absolutely.
So, same thing with the next card. Again, one that we've mentioned quite a bit, the Harvest Golem. This guy is just super, super versatility. He's almost always a 2-for-1 because of his Death Rattle, and just an excellent card and kind of a welcome addition to most any deck, in my opinion.
Yeah, whether it be arena or constructed, Harvest Golem is pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And another card here that's kind of falling out of favor a lot, I think, in a lot of constructed decks is Shattered Sun Cleric. It got nerfed down to 3/2, a few weeks back, but the buff is still there. And I think the buff is what's important, just so you can mess with the math, of your opponent and make it so you can give yourself that favorable trade, from your minion to his minion. And that's the whole point of this card, and that's why I still think it's really viable in the 3 mana slot, especially in an aggressive deck. You want to get this guy out there, get some buffs on your creatures, see if you can keep them alive a little bit longer, maybe keep them around for a heal. And overall, I just think it's worth having in the deck. It's free. Stick it in there,
Yeah, same goes with our next card here, the Chillwind Yeti. It's a 4/5, does great damage. It's immune to the priest, Shadow Word spells, so it's fantastic. Just a good card.
Yeah, absolutely. Really solid, boring, no text on the card. But, it's got that magical, 4 damage, as you said, and 5 health, which is just really tough to get rid of at the 4 mana area there, for pretty much any class. It's tough to get rid of that card without spending at least 2 things to do it. And that's the mark of a good card. That's how you gain advantage on your opponent. So Chillwind Yeti, not crazy sexy, but still a great card. Up next, one card, that, again, that's actually also incoming on a nerf pretty soon. We're going to have to see how that works. But Dark Iron Dwarf. At the time of this video, it gives you the +2 attack permanently, but I hear that's actually being removed. It's only going to be +2 attack per turn pretty soon.
Yeah, same with the Abusive Sergeant, which is a 1 cost. They're doing that to that card as well.
Well, I think they're flipping it. I think the Abusive Sergeant right now is till the end of turn, and now they're flipping it and making that one permanent is what I heard.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure that's right. I may have misread that, guys, but take a look at that. But we don't have any of those in these decks anyway, but still. Dark Iron Dwarf for sure is getting hit with the nerf bat. Right now, it's still viable, and at the time we did this recording, we were using them, and they're pretty solid cards, but just keep it in mind. So up next, Defender of Argus, same deal. Also getting a little bit of a debuff soon. So it's just its damage, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to a 2/3, but you still get the +1/+1 and taunt. I don't know many people that play this because it's a 3/3. They want the buff. So in that respect, I don't really think that changes this card that much.
I don't either, and I still plan on using it quite a bit in my decks. So next up, I went ahead and put a Spellbreaker in my deck just for a little bit of silence. I like this card a lot better than the Ironbeak Owl just because, it's an actual body on the screen. It's a 4/3 card as well as the silence, and it's nice to just have it in there. Silence is, again, kind of falling out of favor in the meta right now, but I still think it's worth having in, and it's a reasonable card, so I like to include it here, and I think we have it in your deck too.
I agree, yeah. Spellbreakers, I love them. Moving on, though, we have one of the favorite rogue weapons, the Assassin's Blade. It's a 3/4 weapon for 5 mana. It's a really, really strong weapon. It has a lot of durability. If you slap a deadly poison on there, you got a 5 damage weapon. It's awesome.
Just brutal weapon. And if you're going to be going with weapon crazy and trying to do some mad damage in a hurry, then you definitely don't want to be without this. I've got 2 in this deck, and it's worth it in my opinion. But as is the next card here, again, kind of something that's fallen out of the meta lately is direct removal, and that's what Assassinate is. But I still like them. I think they're great cards. I think it's great for removing a problem minion from the board. And if I had a Black Knight, maybe, I might have put it in instead of one of these Assassinates to clear taunts or people, that are a big legendary or something. Yeah. But otherwise, this is still a solid card, especially when you're going on low budget. I think it's a rocker.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, Assassinate's fantastic. It's really your only answer for those big creatures.
Yeah. And kind of moving down towards the end of things, we have Silverhand Knight, which is one of my favorite just common class, common cards at the 5 slot. You get a couple of creatures for a low amount of mana. In my opinion, 4/4 and a 2/2 for 5 is a pretty good deal.
Absolutely. I love this card. It's in almost all of my decks.
Yeah, it's really, really solid. And another card that's really great in a rogue deck is the Spiteful Smith. This guy, 4/6, and his Enrage just gives your weapon another couple attack. Can't beat that. You gotta like that.
I think this card's actually picking up in popularity as of late.
Yeah, I think it is, especially, again, in the weapon decks where it really shines. But also, though, I mean, it's a 4 damage and 6, health body for 5 mana. That's not bad at all. You're getting 10 stats for 5 mana, and why not? So, still a really good card. And after that, we got our ye old Argent Commander.
4/2, recently nerfed. Still got Charge and Divine Shield. Fantastic card.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think it's important to have it in pretty much anything. So, it does its job for the 4 damage. And lastly, I did throw a Sprint in my deck because I just don't have any high-end guys really that I wanted to put in here, and it's excellent for card draw. So just being able to drop that late game, especially if you already have board presence, it's a great way to secure the win and go ahead and pick up those last 4 cards. So that's our low-budget deck, guys. You see it on the screen there for a bit, and we'll just get moving on over into the high-budget version and show you some cards there, right? All right, guys. So here on the high-budget side, still starting things off with Backstab, aren't we?
Yep, good solid card. Does 2 damage to any undamaged minion. It's I got 2 of them in this deck because I thought it was a good card. It works well with some of my other combos.
Yep, absolutely. It's a combo maker, and same reason as in the budget decks. Certainly no reason to take it out, nor is there any reason to take out the next card, Deadly Poison.
Yep, gives you your weapon 2+ attack. It's fantastic for early game.
Yep, keep them. They're great. Doesn't matter that it's high budget. It's still just as good. So take them in there. But moving on, you did make it a change here with Ye Old Leper Gnome. I know you love this card.
I really like this card. It's a 2/1. It does 2 damage to the hero, so it's like a 4-for-1 in essence, unless they have armor or something. I like this card for early game. It's just me.
Yep. Nope, that's totally fine. I mean, and again, it works very well in aggressive decks. Just because, it does get out there. It's guaranteed, unless it gets silenced, of course, going to do that 2 damage to the enemy hero. And if someone blows a silence on a Leper Gnome, you just kind of clap and say thank you.
Yeah, I was going to just say that. Like, if you want to silence my Leper Gnome, thank you for the auto win.
Yeah, go for it. So anyway, just something that's been working well for you there. And then next card here is one that honestly can work very well in any rogue deck, and I wouldn't have any problem at all having it in mine, is Eviscerate. This is a great card.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is.
Yeah, you do 2 damage straight up, or if you combo it, it does 4. You throw in some spell damage, it can get even crazier. I think it's good early game removal, and it can be good late game.
It can be anything, yeah, and you can even go for the hero with this if you really feel like it. If it's a kill,
yeah.
Don't ever open on turn 2 with Eviscerate to the face or something like that. That's terrible. But I have seen that. Someone's done that to me. It's pretty fun. But no, very, very versatile card, and being able to kind of spread the damage or hit the damage with whatever you want, and certainly the combo ability in later turns is really, really effective. So very, very strong card. Moving on past that, a few ones that we've already seen, again in the budget tech. First, Acidic Swamp Ooze. Great card there. Blow up the weapon. You're using the rogue. You can see how strong the weapons are. Why leave them with your enemies?
Exactly.
Let them rot. So, and then after that, we got Ye Old Scrub.
Yep, Defias Ringleader. This is pretty much probably in every rogue deck. It's good early. It's good late. It's just an awesome card.
Yep, great card, and you're going to have many opportunities to combo this, especially if you get it going second, and you can use the coin. So really nice for that. After that, again, standard favorite, Fairy Dragon, untargetable. Really nice card. Certainly the winner of many an early game battle, just because you can't direct remove it.
Yep.
And that's the best part of this card. I love them. They're welcome anywhere, in my opinion. So after that one that doesn't quite make it into the low budget deck,
we got Van Cleef.
Yes.
So
this guy's kind of interesting.
Yeah, this is a really interesting. So he's a 2/2 regularly, but he gains +2 attack and +2 health. I'm sorry, for every card you played before him. So we kind of have a lot of weenie stuff going on, but that's for those combos. To get that synergy with the rogue class, and Van Cleef can do work.
So many.
Yeah, if you can get him out on a sort of a later turn, even a mid-turn, and play a couple of cards before he pops out, he can be a massive board presence really fast. And again, kind of with silence kind of falling out of the meta a little bit at the moment, it's harder to deal with him. Silence and direct removal are both kind of going away a little bit right now. You still see them, but for whatever reason, they're just not in a lot of decks right now. So this guy tends to stick around for a little bit if you can get him out and he turns into a massive creature. But really fun, and even if you only play one other card before him, then you're still getting a 4/4 for 3. I mean, what do you want?
Yeah. Well, and it just pairs nice with, the backstabs, the deadly poisons, and the cold bloods. You got a lot of, really cheap
options.
Cards. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nice card, and it's fun. And if you happen to pick him up as a legendary, why not, burn him in here? That's fine. Certainly worse class legendaries out there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Shaman. Sorry. Anyway, moving past him, back onto one of our staples, a couple of them in a row here, Harvest Golem. Again, you just can't go wrong with this card. It works in about any deck. I haven't seen a deck yet that doesn't welcome a Harvest Golem.
Yeah. I think the same can be said here with our next card, the Shattered Sun Cleric. It's a 3/2 gives a +1/+1 to an enemy.
Not an enemy minion, hopefully. Let's not do that. No, to a friendly minion is what we want there. Yeah, very, very strong. I still like this card a lot, even post-nerf, as I said previously. Really, really nice for changing up that early or late game math and screwing up your opponent, which is what the game's about.
That's right.
Moving past that, though, we do have a nice card here, the SI7 Agent. I really like this one a lot.
I do too.
It's a strong body already for 3, and then if you just get that combo in there, then you just pop something for 2 damage. You know, it's kind of like that Stormpike Commando effect.
Yeah.
You know, which is great, but a lot cheaper card. You know, well, not a lot, but still, it's a cheaper card. You know, and it's just really, really good again for surprise damage. You kind of get like an Eviscerate, you know, for 2 damage for free. You know, as long as you can play something before this card. Really, really great for early game removal. You know, and it's a battle cry, so you can even target someone else's fairy dragon, right?
That's right. You could remove fairy dragons for free.
Yeah, so. And then after that, back to the bread and butter cards. Chillwind Yeti, again, just as good in a high budget deck as it is in a low. Really, really strong card for even though it's boring. You know, he's still super strong, and there's no reason not to put one in here. You know, subjective. Some people don't like him, some people do, but personally, I don't find any reason to take him out of the deck. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, and with so much early game, we decided to put the next card in here, the Cult Master. 4/2, draw a card for every minion that dies while this guy's out. It's just you see this more in Arena, but I still like it in Constructed just because I don't have Acolytes of Pain in this deck, so it kind of functions as my card draw there.
Yeah, and the big tactic with this is not to drop it on the board by itself or to drop it on the board and expect it to live very long. You know, what you want to do is have a few creatures on the board, you know, that you know you're probably going to have to sacrifice on this turn. Then you drop the Cult Master down, do your trades, get some refunds for those creatures that you're dumping off. You know, and then know, yeah, the other guy's probably going to spend some removal or a creature trying to destroy the Cult Master on the next turn. But just don't expect him to live very long. Play accordingly, and you'll probably manage to get 2 or 3 cards out of this guy. You know, and obviously still do some damage or cost your opponent a card, which is, you know, then it's done its job. So why not? Moving on after that, again, Dark Iron Dwarf. Really nice card. It's about to get a nerf, though, so if you're seeing this not right away, the card looks a little different now, I'm sure. But because the buff to damage is going away, it's not going to be persistent. It's only going to last 1 turn, so we'll kind of have to see how that goes and see if it still is welcome in addition. Right now, it's great, but it might not be so great here in a week or 2.
Yeah, same goes with our next card here, the Defender of Argus. Got a slight nerf. It's now a 2/3 instead of a 3/3, but it still gives the buff of +1/+1 in taunt. So in my opinion, this card's not going anywhere. It's fantastic. This card wins me games.
Yeah, it really does. I don't think the Defenders, you know, that small damage debuff, I think it would have been a worse debuff if it would have gotten hit in the health.
Agreed.
You know, but the fact that they just want to take 1 damage off it, I still think it's immensely strong for the cost, and I still plan on using plenty of them. I'm not going to disenchant any of these. So moving past that, again, we got a few cards here in a row that still made it in the budget, so we'll just kind of move through these a little quickly. Spellbreaker, again, you went ahead and put this in. You put this in several of your decks when I don't, I notice.
I like that silence. I want at least 1 silence in every deck.
Yeah,
personally.
Very, very strong. You know, it's certainly worth tagging along, and there's no reason not to have it, you know, especially people aren't expecting as much these days, so that's fine. People are expecting the next card, but that's okay. It's too strong not to include.
Yeah, Assassin's Blade, it's a 3/4 weapon. You know, again, with all of our combos from earlier, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, very, very strong, and certainly no reason not to have it. Pair it with Deadly Poison and win. After that, Assassinate, again, direct removal kind of falling out a little bit right now, but I still think it's great. It's one of the Rogue's best cards. You don't have to do anything else special. You know, it's not a Hex, it's not a Polymorph, it doesn't leave anything on the board, it's just dead, you know?
Yeah, that's why I like it. It's just dead.
Yeah, it is the most expensive of the direct removals like that, but it's worth it, I think, in my opinion. After that, another card, very much worth it, Silverhand Knight. Again, you got one of these here, just like I did in my deck, and 4/4 to 2/2 for 5 mana. You can't beat it. I really think it's a strong card and works amazingly well with Defender of Argus.
Yeah, agreed. And something that I do have in my deck and you don't have is Sylvanas Windrunner.
Yeah, I wish I had Sylvanas.
Sylvanas is getting a slight nerf. It's going to go up to 6 mana cost over 5, but it's still a fantastic, fantastic card.
Yeah, this card confuses people. It makes people play differently than they normally would because they constantly have to be wondering what they're going to lose from their side of the board if they kill Sylvanas and she's not silenced. So that's a great thing to trip up your opponent and make them decide, perhaps incorrectly what they should do. Next card, again, is in my deck as well, and several people's too, is Argent Commander. Again, does its job. Rush him, hit for 4, survive, maybe do some work on a later turn as well. Really can't beat that. No reason to take it out here. And then, of course, we get to your bread and butter cards, which you like to put in almost any deck.
Ragnaros the Fire Lord. I might add that I now have a golden Ragnaros.
Yes, you did, after a craft, as I recall.
Yeah, 3,400 dust, but worth
3,200 dust, yeah.
You're right.
It gets it done, but very, very nice card, and, messes with people's heads. No one likes to see a rag hit the board unless you have a mind control.
Amen.
Yeah, and then lastly is Ysera. Again, this card can win games too. If it sits on the board for more than a couple of turns for you and draws those dream cards, it's just the game. I mean, the game's over. It's simple as that, because those dream cards are so insane, and you definitely get one on the turn you summon her. So certainly worth pulling out. But anyway, so that's it for the high budget version there, and I think that's pretty much going to be the video here, guys. So hopefully you learned something, and again, take these ideas with a grain of salt. We're just having fun with these decks. They're working for us and getting us some gold. And so again, we just wanted to share them with you and see what you thought. So let us know what you think of this series. Be on the lookout for more of these soon, and we'll talk to you later.